What do WTO rules say on America's retaliatory tariff? What options are left for India? Hello, friends. US President Donald Trump has announced to impose retaliatory tariffs on all major trading partners, including China, who impose higher import duty on products coming from America. The Trump administration has already announced to impose a duty of up to 25% on the import of steel and aluminum, which is to be implemented from March 12th. Announcing this new policy, the president also said that India is at the forefront in terms of imposing duty. Since all these countries are members of the World Trade Organization, WTO, questions may arise on this decision of America under the rules of WTO. Today, we will discuss this topic in depth. But before that, if you are new to our channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel so that you keep getting updates of our every new video first. So let's start today's discussion without any delay. First of all, let us know what is WTO. The World Trade Organization, WTO, headquartered in Geneva, is a multilateral body that formulates rules for global trade and resolves trade disputes between member countries. Its primary objective is to ensure free, transparent, and smooth flow of goods and services. India and the US have been members of this organization since 1995. Both countries have signed several trade-related agreements which set international trade rules and guidelines. Under these agreements, an attempt is made to maintain a balance in trade policies so that no country gets unfair advantage. Now the question is, what are the tariff commitments under the World Trade Organization? One of the key principles of the WTO is to ensure tariff stability and transparency. Under this, each member country legally sets its own tariff limits called bound tariffs. These are the maximum duty rates that a country includes in its list of trade concessions. Once set, these rates cannot be exceeded without renegotiation. Additionally, the actual duty that each country applies to its imported goods is called applied tariffs. It can be less than the bound tariff rate but cannot be more than it under WTO rules. Now let us know what happens if a country charges more than the prescribed duty limit. If a country imposes a duty beyond its prescribed limit, it is considered a violation of Article 2 of the General Tariff and Trade Agreement of 1994. This article clearly states that member countries should not impose rates higher than their accepted fee list and should not add any additional duty or tax which is not included in their commitments. Breaks this rule, the affected country can raise the issue before the WTO Dispute Settlement Body, DSB. The dispute resolution process usually begins with bilateral negotiations. If the negotiations do not lead to a solution, the affected country can get the right to impose retaliatory tariffs or other trade restrictions under the instructions of the WTO. Now, the question is, can a WTO member increase its binding fees rates? Yes, it can increase, but for this, it is mandatory to follow special procedures. Under Article 28 of the General Tariff and Trade Agreement, GATT, a country can amend its tariff list. But for this, it will have to negotiate with the affected trading partners and give compensatory concessions to compensate for their losses. Apart from this, the duty can also be increased under certain exceptions, such as national security threats or emergency security measures. Using this provision, the US during the reign of its President Donald Trump imposed an additional duty of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum, citing national security reasons under Section 232 of the Trade Act. The US cited the security of its domestic steel industry as the reason for this. However, the WTO considered this move against the rules in many cases. India also imposed retaliatory duty on 28 US products in response to this decision. According to the Global Trade Research Initiative, GTRI, the WTO Dispute Settlement Body has clarified that national security exceptions cannot be abused and should only be applied in times of war or serious emergency. Now let's know how America reacted to this. According to GTRI, the US refused to accept this decision of the WTO. It argues that it is completely its sovereign right to decide national security policies, and no external body should interfere in it. The US blocked the WTO's appellate body, which has stalled the process of appealing disputes by member countries. This is weakening the dispute settlement process of the World Trade Organization and making it difficult to maintain trade balance. Now, the question is, why is import duty high in India and low in developed countries like the US? Developing countries like India usually impose high import duties to protect domestic industries, revenue collection, and support economic growth. The economy of these countries is still developing in many areas, and they want their local industry to be protected from foreign competition. Apart from this, generating revenue from import duty is also an important economic strategy for governments, which helps in public spending and infrastructure development. On the other hand, import duties are usually low in developed countries such as the US, as their industries are already competitive at the global level. These countries benefit from open markets, which allows their companies to reach global consumers with minimal trade barriers. According to the Global Trade Research Initiative, GTRI, when the World Trade Organization, WTO, was established in 1995, developed countries allowed developing countries to maintain high duties to some extent in exchange for agreement on issues such as intellectual property rights, IPR, services trade liberalization, and agricultural trade reform. However, these policies benefited the rich countries more as they were able to bend the trade rules in their favor. Now, the question is, what is special and differential treatment in WTO? The World Trade Organization, WTO, agreements contain certain special provisions that provide developing and least developed countries with certain exemptions from trade rules. Under these provisions, such countries are given more time to adjust their tariff rates and implement trade policies so that they can stabilize their domestic economy. For example, developing countries like India are allowed more flexibility than developed countries to reduce subsidies and import duties. Now, the question is whether India has the right to take action against the 25% US duty on steel and aluminum. According to legal experts, India has the right to take action against the 25% US duty on steel and aluminum. India has the right to take retaliatory measures under the rules of the World Trade Organization if it believes that the duties imposed by the US are violating international trade laws. Now, the question is whether India will challenge this matter in the WTO. Experts believe that as trade negotiations are currently going on between India and the US, it may be difficult for India to raise this issue as a dispute in the WTO. However, strategically, India should keep all options open. Imposing retaliatory tariffs and joining the WTO dispute settlement process are both options that should be seriously considered. Apart from this, India should work with other WTO member countries to strengthen the role of the organization, as the WTO's dispute settlement system is facing various challenges. Experts say that it is necessary to maintain a rule-based global trading system so that the collective interests of developing countries can be protected. Bilateral trade deals will only benefit powerful countries, while an effective multilateral trade mechanism can provide equitable solutions for all countries. If you like our content and want to make our efforts even stronger, you can support us through the QR code given in the video or the UPI ID given in the description. Your every small contribution is valuable to us and will inspire us to make even better and informative videos. Your support is our strength. Also, if this video taught you something new or you felt that this information should reach others as well, then do not forget to like and share the video. If you have any questions or suggestions in mind, then do let us know in the comments. We look forward to answering your every question and listening to suggestions. And yes, if you want to stay updated with our every new video in the future, then subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you get every new information first. GRT Business always strives to give you accurate and reliable information. Our news is obtained from various news agencies, public opinion, and public sources. We try our best to verify every report, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our sole aim is to provide you with accurate and reliable information.